I was absolutely off my fucking head. All I could think about was when I could get that baby out and have a line. They never, ever, ever once judged me. In that moment, I think is when everything changed.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to On The Mend. This is the podcast where we look back at life's toughest moments to figure out how we move forward. Let's get into it. Roxie, welcome to On The Mend.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Right, let's jump in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm meeting this Roxie, right?
Yeah.
But there was another Roxie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what was she like?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It's so weird. I really feel like there was like me before I discovered manifestation, before my rock bottom, and me after. And it's everyone I meet now, like people I work with, they can't imagine what I was like. I think that, I mean, I don't know how far back you want me to take it, but
Wherever you want to go.
I would say growing up was just generally not somebody that I just wasn't happy. I wasn't confident. I had no self-worth from like a very, very young age. And going into my teens, basically I'd changed my name from Rowan to Roxie because I didn't want people to know that I was Arab. So I started rejecting myself quite early on.
Right.
And I remember having like the first time I drank was probably a WKD at 14, thinking like, God, like this is quite nice. There's like a nice feeling to it. And what it gave me was this false sense of confidence. And that became really appealing to me. And when I was about 17, I sort of moved to London as soon as I'd left school. And I found myself in this crowd where there was, like a lot of people do at that age, but there was a lot of partying, there was a lot of drinking, and really quickly I was introduced to cocaine and I loved it. I just thought it made you feel amazing. Yeah. And again, it was that confidence that it gave me. And I think at that point, I was just, it's fun at the beginning and it was fun.
Otherwise you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you also recover quite a lot quicker because you're 17. So you're not getting like day-long come downs. Yeah. But what happened was, what started out as quite fun really, really quickly became problematic. And it happened when, and I've actually never talked about this, but I was in a relationship with someone much older than me when I was 21. And he was an ex-addict. So he was sober. Right. He sort of enabled it a little bit. And
even though he wasn't using.
Yes.
Right.
And so I think that I was kind of thrust into this very different world. We were going to very glamorous parties. It was just something I'd never experienced. And there was just constantly this offering of cocaine. When I left school, I started drinking more and more, tried Coke for the first time, absolutely loved it, loved the false confidence, loved the fact that at 17, you know, you're not getting come downs or anything like that. Your recovery is much quicker. It wasn't problematic at that point at all. By the time I was 21, things had declined like really rapidly. So I remember I had basically ordered off, do you remember that website Silk Road?
Yeah.
And
well, luckily I'd only heard about it.
So you went on like the dark web, you bought it with Bitcoin and it came to my house and it would be delivered through the post. And this Coke came and I remember opening it and the smell in my kitchen was just of like petrol. Like it was so strong. And within, I would say like, and you can only order in like bulk. Within days, I'd gone from like enjoying it to being completely hooked. Yeah. And I remember going to see Rihanna, like watch her at a concert, and I'd put the drugs in my sock. By the way, nobody else around me was doing it. Yeah. Nobody was there. And we were nearby, I think Twickenham at this point. And I was like, oh no, my drugs are falling out of my sock. We're going to have to turn back. Yeah. Because I cannot enter this evening without drugs. And then I ended up going backstage and meeting her. And I was absolutely off my fucking head.
Yeah.
And nobody else was. And I remember that starting then thinking, oh God, there's this like real like need for it now. And then it just...
And that happened quickly, right? So from
like,
not feeling like you had a problem to getting a big bunch of coke.
Yeah.
You know, and do you think that's that, like, what happened? Do you think it was just like, oh, now I don't have any reason to stop?
I think it was like, I don't know if it was like that coke was so strong.
Yeah.
That something like chemically, it did something to me. But then within weeks, I mean, I remember like, you know, just you start hunting for like anybody to do it with, then you're doing it on your own. It was very, very, very rapid. Kept saying, you know, I'll stop and then not. I ended up going to NA when I was 21. And I thought, because I kept doing that thing. I was like, I'm not going to do it tonight. And then you do it and then you're out all night till the next day. And then you've got the like horrendous self-loathing.
Yeah.
And I went to NA and everybody there was, you know, had been addicted to heroin or crack. So I was like, I'm fine.
Absolutely.
It's just a bit of coke.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Looking for the differences, not the similarities.
So what happens is I ended up kind of feeling like better about it and thinking actually, I don't know what I'm like, what's all the fuss about? Like, it's fine. And then from 21 until 27, those entire 6 years were just, it was only about drugs.
Right.
Like, that was all I did. I wasn't really, I wasn't working. I wasn't really doing anything with my life. It was just coke. That was the priority of my life. When I think back to it, I'm like, it was so shameful and there's so much regret and there's so much disgust and you're on a constant come down. And I think it's really hard for me to even differentiate, like, was I depressed or was I on a constant come down?
Yeah.
But it's a bit like chicken and egg, like which comes first?
Absolutely.
And the feeling of, you know, staring at the walls, not being able to sleep after a night out, to me, I think is honestly now feels like, it's like quite traumatic.
Yeah.
To go through that night after night for so many years.
And desperately wanting to sleep, but you just can't.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, if I like, did you watch Industry?
Industry.
Oh my God. If you watch Industry, like it's all about, they're all like young, working loads, doing coke. For me, it's like a visceral reaction watching shows like that or watching people do drugs. And I don't know if you get the same, but
absolutely. Yeah.
It is so intense, the anxiety. And
it doesn't excite me anymore.
No.
But I remember watching shows back in the day and thinking, oh, it looks so cool, Scarface and stuff, thinking, fuck, I want to be that. You know, now it fills me with like, I get sweaty.
Yeah.
You know.
But it was cool. And I thought it was cool at the time.
Yeah.
You know, for me, snorting lines off a toilet seat actually felt good to me. It felt glamorous.
Yeah.
And it was glamorized. And and all the celebrities were doing it. And people were all over the paper drunk. And all the cool it girls were doing it. And it made you feel like you were part of some group or something.
Yeah.
And actually you're just left very, very alone and deflated.
Yeah. I mean, so that was up until 27, you said?
Yes.
Right, okay. So you've been a coke addict, you know, for 6 years.
Yeah.
Right. And life has got to that point. I know that point.
Yeah.
You know, I know it really, really fucking well.
Yeah.
I know those nights and I know that room, you know, and I know, I mean, for me, it was fucking looking through curtains and stuff, you know, people thinking people are coming to get me and stuff, all that stuff. It just fills me with dread, you know, and, but you're right. Like there's something a bit, like for me, there was something a bit rock and roll about it, you know, something a bit glamorized about it. Right. And what changed, you know, like what were you, did you know that you were lying to yourself about it?
Yeah. I tried to give up like loads of times.
Want to know who's coming up next? Hit follow wherever you get your podcasts and you'll be the first to find out.
And my rock bottom came when basically I decided that I would book myself a yoga teacher training course in Thailand. And I thought...
Perfect for a coke addict. Yeah, great.
And I thought, great, like I have no access to anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, before I went on like a 3-month binge because I was like, it's my last hurrah, like I'm done now.
Yeah.
So kind of went wild, then got to Thailand just feeling horrendous, looking awful, you know, just in such a bad way. Had this month, kind of was obviously clean and started to feel better. And I got back to London and I thought like, this is going to be like the beginning of a new me. The day I landed, a friend of mine was like, do you want to come to this dinner? And I was like, yeah, like, sounds good. Like I'm feeling
Can't
back.
wait to show them fresh, the new me.
The new me, the tan. And she's okay, meet you at my hotel. So I meet her at her hotel. She's getting ready. It's about 4 p.m. She pulls out a bag of Coke and she's like, do you want wine? And I was like, oh yeah, go on then. And what happened was that I went to this dinner. I'll just give you the full story. I went to this dinner, was getting on it, ended up going back to an after party with 2 much older guys that I hadn't met before. Did some things I still to this day, like deeply, deeply regret. I went back home and carried on my own. At 1:00, I met a friend for lunch. We went to the hairdresser and I was just carrying on doing it on my own. I mean, I always wonder like if she ever knew I was high that day.
Yeah.
We ended up going out that night again. I bumped into an ex. We went home together. And then I finally went to bed sort of like after this like 48-hour session.
Of mayhem, yeah.
And I think waking up after that, that was a low point. And I was like, oh, I cannot believe I'm back here. And it was just a feeling of like such shame, such hopelessness. And I think that feeling of hopelessness is like really overwhelming, where you just feel there's no way out. And I remember it was the royal wedding. It was Harry and Meghan's wedding a few days later that week. And it was 11 a.m. And I went over to my friend's house and was just on my own in the bathroom carrying on. And I think that's when I called a friend of mine and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she said, oh, you should listen to this podcast on manifestation. And I was like, oh, fuck it. I'll try anything. And then from there, everything began to change.
Right.
But not straight away.
So you're in this place, right? Mm-hmm. And you've been away for a month.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, right, okay. Because like you hear these stories about like you can change any behavior in 30 days and all that kind of stuff. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I do believe that to some extent. But I think you've got to want to.
Yeah.
You know, but and then you get back and straight away it's like bang, back to the same position as you were before, right?
Yeah.
And then how long did that carry on for?
So what actually happened was I kind of listened to this podcast, was like, okay, yes, I'm going to change my life. But then I went to Ibiza.
Right.
And I went on basically.
I changed my life after this holiday.
Yeah, basically.
I know
I went to Ibiza and I did 8 days straight.
Right.
And I mean, I came back on the floor. I ended up, I can't believe I'm telling you all this, but I ended up like sleeping with a drug dealer. I mean, I didn't go to bed for days. I was, like literally broken. And I got back and my sleep paralysis was so bad that I ended up actually calling the police because I was so convinced someone was trying to break into my house.
Yeah.
Like it was really, really dark.
Yeah.
And then what happened was I met Wade. So I'd met him on a dating app and I fully believe I like manifested this relationship and this man into my life. And when I met Wade, he didn't drink. He had no addictions whatsoever. And my ex had been an addict as well. He liked life's simple pleasures, things that like I couldn't even imagine. Like he seemed to feel like generally happy, just like waking up and having breakfast. I was like, how can this be? Like, how can someone feel so happy just with like normal life? Because to me, normal life was so boring.
You know that feeling when you wake up and it's like you've slept, but you're still knackered? Well, I used to blame the kids, the late nights, my busy schedule, basically everything, but what I was actually sleeping on, my mattress. Turns out that was a problem all along. When you're trying to rebuild yourself as a husband, a dad, a mate, whatever, you learn that good sleep isn't just a luxury, it's what you need to fill those roles. So over at On The Mend, my podcast, we switched to Simbra, hybrid mattress. We chose this mattress as we learned the hybrid layers adapt to your body, keep you cool and give you proper support. All of this helps so much when you're waking up refreshed and you're not dragging yourself through the day. So you can become a better version of yourself through the power of sleep. Simba's won over 100 sleep awards and 6 Which Awards, best buys, and I get why. You get over a 200-night free trial, a 10-year guarantee, and flexible finance options. So there really isn't a risk, and you'll get to see how amazing you really, really sleep. Honestly, it's amazing how much better life feels when you're well rested. Head to simbasleep.com/on-the-mend and give yourself the rest you deserve. Yeah.
And I was actually secretly doing coke on like all our dates. And, you know, eventually I told him what was going on. I was like, I have a problem. I'm trying not to do it. And it was becoming quite problematic because, you know, he'd want to go for dinner, but I couldn't just go for dinner.
Yeah.
Dinner had to be a night out.
Yeah.
And it was an issue. But I was trying. I'd introduced myself to meditation and things like that. And then I fell pregnant.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, after 3 months of knowing Wade, I was 8 weeks pregnant. So I suddenly basically had to go cold turkey on everything. And it was the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life.
How hard was it for you to hide all your behavior from Wade?
He was, because he'd never done drugs, he didn't know what to look for.
Yeah.
So he completely never even suspected that I was doing drugs in the bathroom.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Perfect.
Yeah, it was.
But internally awful, right?
Well,
like I hid stuff from, I think about all the times that I hid stuff from my wife. And you know, to a later respect from everyone, you know, it was just like, there's something in me that knew, you know, I was a piece of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that just, but like, still didn't make me stop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's something about that kind of internal kind of like self-loathing.
Yeah, you feel dirty.
But I was almost used to that. Like, it's just so funny talking about Wade, because I describe, I'm a bit like that now, right? So like I don't know what it is, but like when I was using, I couldn't really feel pleasure about anything. I mean, nothing really gave me anything. Yeah. You know, like I hear people talk about the sunset and stuff. I'd be like, ball the fuck off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't know what fucking coke feels like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like then cocaine was I was just using it to feel some kind of normality.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? To feel some kind of normal rather than be in the pits of despair. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's like, I started to think about it like, if you're getting a chemical high to feel good, then no normal chemical in your brain is going to be able to match it. So it's inevitable that real life is going to feel so dull and mundane in comparison to this like chemical you're putting in your brain. Yeah. And so one thing, and I wrote about it in one of my books, is that I really remember, I always used to say, like, I used to go on these, like my thing was always like, if you go 3 weeks without using, and I think I only did it like once or twice in the 10 years, but I remember thinking like at 3 weeks you actually start to feel differently. And when I did eventually stop, I remember about this 3-week mark, I was on the phone to my sister, and I have no idea kind of what she said, but I remember like just laughing, but like properly belly laughing. Yeah. And it was like this childlike feeling of joy. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
That's happening, yeah.
And since then, it's really like life, you forget like things like going on holiday that you thought you could never do without drugs actually feel so amazing in such a different way, in such a deeper way.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. I mean, I think about some of the times that I was using. One night that my band won 2 Brit Awards, right, at the Brit Awards, and we won 2. It was like the biggest fucking night of our lives, right? Everyone else was on cloud 9. I couldn't wait to fucking leave, you know, because I had to sit at a table and I couldn't keep popping off to the toilet. Yes. Do you know what I mean? All I wanted to do was leave and get the fuck out of there. You know,
you can't be present in anything.
You know, great award, brilliant, you know, and like, just get me the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, I was constantly searching to be with that thing in me. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, you can't take pleasure in anything. Yeah. You know, can you take pleasure in these things now?
Oh my God,
do you find it difficult? Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like a different experience. I mean, I was exactly the same. I remember going to like the Venice Biennale, which was like amazing. And it was like the most incredible, like glamorous trip. It was like my ex-boyfriend at the time. I should have had the best time. I couldn't have had a worse time because I couldn't get drugs in Venice. Yeah, yeah. And I was like, this is the worst place I've ever been.
Venice sucks.
And the minute I landed, I was just straight on it because I had to be. So yeah, it's like, it just takes over your mind, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, and you talked about Wade and your son and stuff. Like how much does your family know about your addiction?
So what's really interesting is that I mean, my mum's a devout Muslim, so she thinks I've never drunk.
Right, okay.
And God bless her.
Yeah.
And my dad, I never spoke about it with, but he'd read my interviews and listened to them, so he knew in the end. But my brothers and sisters were so incredible. So I used to have this thing where after a big night out, I would get home at, let's say, 8, 9 a.m. I would take a Valium and get in a taxi all the way to my brother's in Henley at the time, knock on his door. He had a baby. He would open the door to me, let me go upstairs, make me a sandwich. I'd go upstairs, sleep, come down in the morning, in the afternoon, have food with them and sleep again. They never, ever, ever once judged me.
Yeah.
Ever.
Ever feel like you're burning the candle at every end? That was me on tour, back-to-back shows, brutal travel, barely any recovery time. And let's face it, I'm not 25 anymore. I mean, my body was like, mate, what are you doing? So before the next leg, I switched things up and started taking Vitals by Heights. Just 2 capsules a day, packed with 20 essential nutrients for brain and body, omega-3s, B vitamins, D3, all the good stuff. I mean, Heights has massively transformed the way I tour. I used to have trouble sleeping, not be able to fall asleep, be wide awake for hours, or fall asleep, wake up in the middle of the night, not be able to get back to sleep, then have to do a whole new day the next day, feeling pretty groggy. You know, Vitals has changed that for me. This isn't some gimmick brand either. Heights is formulated by doctors, backed by science, and trusted by elite performers. There are literally thousands of 5-star reviews to go along with it, right? If you want to simplify your routine and feel your best, head to heights.com/OTM and use the code OTM20 for 20% of your first subscription. Trust me, you'll feel the difference.
Like, they had such compassion for me. And it was the most incredible thing. And I think...
So they knew when you were turning up what had been going
on. They did. And my older sister had also been an addict for a long time. And so she was always really reassuring and would talk me down in those nights where I'd be like, I fucking hate myself. I want to kill myself. I just that, those horrible times. But yeah, their compassion and non-judgment was so important. And it was the same when I met Wade, because when I did tell Wade what was going on in those first few months, there was no judgment. He was so open. And I remember when I said, like, no, I'm going to stop. And then he went away, and then I just had a massive night out, and I texted him and I was so scared to tell him. And he was just like, it's okay. Yeah. And that is such a special thing, and something that I think is I think it's really easy to assume that addicts need you to push them away for them to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't think that's the case.
No.
Every situation is different. But for me, certainly, actually, the kindness was so important.
I think you're so right. I think we kind of get this, look, some cases are individual, right? So some people are enabling and need to be address their behavior with it and stuff, but in some ways, I think like everything about addiction, like, and the justice system in the UK, everything is about victimizing these people and making them villains, when actually, in my experience, if you show someone love, in any way and compassion, you get a better result.
Yeah.
The decision to change, right? You talked about this, right? You found manifestation.
Yeah.
Right? What was it about manifestation that grabbed you?
So,
because I've heard of it.
Yes.
And I hear people talking about it a lot right now. Like I've watched your stuff and I'm like, right, this sounds appealing.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
What appealed to me about it was that I realized that manifestation was about self-worth, and that we attracted into our lives what we believed we were worthy of receiving. And I knew I had no self-worth. So I realized in that moment that I was the one keeping myself stuck. Right. And I think that up until that point, I had really been in victim mentality. It was like, poor me, like bad things happen to me and it's so unfair. And I think then I realized I was going to take responsibility for my life. And in that moment, I think is when everything changed. Right. Because I wasn't just going to let life happen to me. And I think manifestation is really about having a sense of agency again. It's about working on your healing journey. It's about aligning your behavior with what you want your life to look like and feel like. And honestly, everything changed so quickly once I discovered it. It was like I just tapped into some incredible secret.
Yeah.
And it was just magical.
I mean, would you say that was the first step towards healing? Because it sounds like something happened when you found out about manifestation, right?
Overnight.
Yeah.
And really, it was literally, I found out about manifesting, decided I wanted to manifest love. 2 weeks later, Wade messaged me.
Wow.
And, 3 months later, I was pregnant. And it was absolutely, it's so funny what Wolf said to me this morning. He was like, Mummy, was your life a little bit more bad before I was in it? And I was like, it actually really fucking was. Like everything good happened to me since he was born. So yeah.
Do you believe that kind of like emotional healing has to come before self-development?
Yeah.
Or do you think they can work hand in hand?
I think they're kind of the same thing.
Right.
I think that for me, like when I talk about manifestation, I think that it's the big umbrella and all healing and self-development falls underneath it.
Right.
So I think that like self-development is really just about working on yourself.
Yeah.
And I think you can work on yourself in so many different ways, emotionally, mentally, physically. And I think for me, it was about immersing myself in everything that I almost brainwashed myself into like healing. So I just tried everything. I would started meditating and I started journaling and I was reading self-help books and listening to motivational YouTube and, so many things. And when it comes to like my personal like change, and especially when it comes to addiction, I think people often think that because I got pregnant and became a mom, that's what did it.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't. Because actually when I got pregnant, all I could think about was when I could get that baby out and have a line.
Right.
It was all I could think about. I mean, for pretty much the entire time. It was it was so fucking tough. I was obsessed with it. And actually what happened was a few months after Wolf was born, I did go out and get completely fucked up and it just wasn't as fun as I remembered it.
Right. It didn't tick that box anymore.
It didn't. But what actually did, okay, so I had heard this experiment and I might not be quoting the experiment exactly, but this is how I heard it. I heard that if you put rats in a cage and you gave them a button that had access to Coke, they would keep pressing it basically till they died.
Yeah.
And then if you put these same rats, not the same rats because they're dead, but if you did another experiment with rats where they were in like a rat heaven and they had food and other rats and like playing wheels, then they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so maybe it's not just that I'm an addict. Maybe it's just that I don't have anything else in my life to wake up for.
Yeah.
Like maybe I don't have a full life. And so I'm in this constant need to escape it. And so while I was pregnant with Wolf, I was going through a very, very, very deep depression. I'd turned all my addiction to food. I wasn't leaving. It was just a horrible, dark time. But I started visualizing what I wanted my life to be like on the other side. And I started thinking about how I could use my pain to help others. And I essentially just found a purpose. And it was actually having a purpose and finding something that was worth waking up for. That was really the thing that actually got me away from my addiction.
So when did you actually start to share your purpose with people? Was it on Instagram?
Yeah. So I say it was like a gift from the universe, but a week before I found out I was pregnant, I started something called Agni Aunt Sundays on my Instagram stories,
right?
Where I just would help people with their dilemmas.
Right.
Like, I don't really know why I decided to do it. I just really liked giving my friends advice. It was really as simple as that. But when I was pregnant, when I was going through this darkness, every Sunday I had something that was not about me and it was about other people.
Yeah.
And so it became this like thread and I started building this kind of really tiny community, but more and more people would ask questions every week.
Yeah.
And I started sharing quite honestly about how I was feeling and the struggles I was feeling and how much I was struggling with the pregnancy and things like that. I was at the time, because I was doing a lot of like I was on my own journey with it. So I was obviously, like I said, I was reading loads of books and I was really inspired by people like Brené Brown and Tony Robbins. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to be on stage helping people.
Yeah.
And so when Wolf was 5 months old, I hosted my first workshop to, I think it was like 100 people. I rented like an old church. It was like £200. I put some balloons out.
Yeah.
And that was the start of everything.
Wow. And what did it feel like to be doing that?
I mean, I remember feeling my leg going on stage. I remember it so clearly, feeling like my legs were like, jelly.
Yeah.
But within 10 minutes, I was like, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And it really, everything I just channeled all that pain and was like relentless in my pursuit of success in the way that I saw it.
Yeah. I mean, so Wolf is born, right? And you kind of like, you have this realization that you have something that you think you can give to people, right? And that becomes a purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's so important, right? It's like, right, what is our reason to get out of bed?
Yeah.
What does that do for us? And therefore, what can it do for other people?
Yeah.
Right. So, what was that like? Did you, when you're doing this, a workshop, right? How many people are in there?
It was about 100,
100 people. Yeah. Right. Did you feel good? Did you feel ready?
No, of course I fucking wasn't.
That's a really important message to hear.
And I look back and I was, it's so cringe.
Yeah.
I was almost going to wear a hat on stage until my friend told me to take the fluffy hat off. Yeah. Right? I was not ready at all. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking. Looking back, I'm like, if I said to me to do it now, then I wouldn't. But I wanted to just take my own advice, which was step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Don't wait to be ready. Like, everybody starts somewhere.
That's exactly what I'm getting at, right? Is that people say to me all the time, oh, no, I'll do that in this time. I need to be here. I'm like, no, just do it.
Yeah. You got to just...
That's what I love about that story.
Do hard things.
Yeah.
And show yourself that you can. And I think, it's really important to always recognize that things like perfectionism, excuses, it's really all a symptom of our own insecurities and fears and doubts.
Yeah.
And there's an affirmation that I really love, which is, I am more powerful than my fears and doubts. And I think it's so nice for people to say to themselves, like, think about the things you want to do, the things that you most want to do. Then think about the stories you're telling yourself about why you shouldn't do them.
Yeah.
And then remind yourself that you're more powerful than your fears and doubts.
Love it. I'm more powerful than my fears and doubts. I need to remind myself of that. So when you think of an affirmation, I've never done them either. Like, what's an affirmation?
Okay, so an affirmation is a positive, affirming statement that we can say to ourselves. So our subconscious can rarely differentiate a truth from a lie. So whatever you tell it, it will believe to be true. So if you are constantly saying to yourself, I'm no good, I'm a failure, good things don't happen for me, good things aren't meant for me, then what happens is your subconscious brain will just try to find evidence to support that truth.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're able to repeat a positive affirmation, and you have to do it more than once, but if you can repeat it often, you start to, first you start to change your belief systems. And our belief systems are like the lens through which we view the whole world. But then we start to kind of encourage our brain to find evidence to support that truth.
Yeah.
And so your whole experience of the world is just greater.
I mean, that sounds amazing. What if you don't believe it though?
You don't have to, because your subconscious can't tell the difference. That's why if...
So wait. So that's the thing. This is a big thing for me, right? I'm like, I hear this. I'm like, well, I don't know if I believe it. What if you really hate yourself?
Yeah. Then all the more reason to say it.
Right.
So you don't have to believe it. So imagine if you were imagining a really scary situation, a worst case scenario. You know how your body will start reacting as you're thinking about it. You'll start feeling anxious. Your heart will start racing. You might get sweaty palms.
Yeah.
Because your brain is thinking it's really happening. Whereas if you were to imagine yourself in like a really calm, serene place, your body will respond as if that's happening. And so it's the same with the way that we speak to ourselves. Let's say we're having a conversation with someone, and in our heads we're saying to ourselves, oh my God, this person clearly doesn't like me. They're being really off with me. I can tell. We're picking up on cues and misinterpreting them. And then as a result, our whole behavior is going to change because we really believe that's true. So we're probably going to become a bit standoffish. We might become more distant, self-conscious. And so then the whole experience is different.
Yeah.
Whereas if we could just say to ourselves, I trust that I'm really good with people. I'm a naturally likable person. You could think about 3 different other reasons why this person might be distracted while you're talking to them if you really feel that they are.
Yeah.
And so you can start telling yourself different story, and you can start repeating affirmations to yourself, and your brain will completely shift how you feel and how you respond.
Wow. I mean, that sounds wicked. Because I have those moments all the time, and I'm like, I'm in a room, I'm like, oh God, like they hate me. They hate me. However into recovery I am, I still have these awful thoughts in my head. I try to shut up. I'm like, stop it.
Our brains are very powerful.
Yeah.
And I always think, give yourself, so let's say it's about other people, and this is great for anyone listening. Often we're making assumptions about what other people think of us and how they feel about us. And I always think, give yourself a minimum of 3 other reasons why somebody is behaving the way they are. So if someone hasn't texted you back, or this is a really common one, if you've got a group WhatsApp chat and then you make the joke and then no one replies.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, they all fucking hate me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Oh,
Think
God,
of 3 other reasons, why. Okay, they just all happen to be really busy at this time.
Yeah.
Something's happened to them personally, whatever. So I think it really is just about always offering yourself new perspectives.
Yeah. You've built a platform around manifesting.
Yeah.
Right. How does that tie into recovery and healing? And would that help other addicts?
Yeah. It's really funny because my 7-step guide to manifesting, so many people ask me if it's based on the 12-step program.
Right.
But it's not. But right. I can see how it would. And I have had so many people message me saying that it has helped them on their journeys with recovery.
Right.
So I really think that it absolutely can help.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about it, right? Like I keep hearing about it and I keep hearing people I really admire talking about it. I'm like, I need to look into this a bit more because, I mean, I'm going to sound a bit bad now, but I've always thought it's a bit fluffy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's something about me that just goes, I need like someone to be tough and hard with me or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's because there's such a misconception around it. Yeah. It's just about visualizing
what
you want.
What is that misconception?
Well, people think it's about visualization or making a vision board and waiting for it to happen. But in my 7-step guide to manifesting, it's about knowing what you want and being clear in your vision. It's about removing fear and doubt, which is all about believing you're worthy of it and healing all the wounds that have got you to where you are.
Yeah.
It's about step 3 is like aligning your behavior. So it's about taking action, being proactive, stepping outside your comfort zone, showing up as the person you want to become.
Right.
Step 4 is about overcoming tests. So that's about overcoming challenges, not settling for less than you deserve, saying no, letting go is like letting go of what's no longer serving you so that you can create space for what you do want to enter your life. Step 5 is all about gratitude, embracing gratitude. Step 6 is turning envy into inspiration. And step 7 is trust in the universe, which is all about faith.
Wow.
And so when you kind of like lay out the 7 steps, what you realize is it's impossible not to change your life when you do those things.
Yeah. I mean, there sounds like quite a lot of action in there.
Yeah.
Which is like what I haven't heard before about manifestation. Like it feels like something you just go, like that's what I've always thought anyway. Yeah. But this sounds like you've got an action plan.
Yeah, exactly. It's a way of living. Like those 7 steps are not something you pick up and put down. It's just a life guide.
Yeah.
You can use them throughout every minute of your day in some way.
I mean, life seems wicked, right?
Yeah.
Do you still have hard days?
Yeah.
Do you still have moments where maybe old patterns creep in that you wish didn't?
I think I've got an interesting relationship with alcohol now and that I do still drink occasion. Like I will have a drink.
Yeah.
But I think a part of the reason that I can do that is because I loved Coke. I didn't really like drinking or getting drunk. Drinking for me was just the gateway, to get high. So I think I'm quite lucky in that respect.
Yeah.
So I will go out for dinner and have a cocktail, maybe 2.
Right.
But I just don't have a desire. The idea of getting drunk for me is like not nice.
Wow. And it doesn't ever want to make you do gear.
No.
Wow. So
I'm sure if I drank enough to get drunk, I would.
Right.
But I don't let myself.
Because you'd never been an alcoholic.
No.
So you don't have that impetus to keep drinking, which makes you not lead getting drunk, which loses inhibitions, which leads you to buy Coke.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was never ever a drink for me.
Oh, you're lucky. Yeah. Absolutely. So it's a weird question now because I think you've answered it, but do you feel relapse? Do you fear it?
No. I don't think I'll never have a night out again.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that's a problem for me.
Right.
But I think because I feel so confident that one night out for me would not mean
going back into
that cycle.
Yeah.
But I also think that maybe giving myself that, I'm quite a never say never about all things in my life.
Yeah.
I don't even believe in like one person forever, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's for me where I feel safest in a kind of, I'm making the choice.
Yeah.
It's not being done to me.
Yeah, I think that I live a very similar thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, today I'm not going to get fucked up.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I try not to think too much in the future because it blows my mind. You know, they would say we live one day at a time.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me.
Exactly.
You know, but I mean, I plan to never use or drink again, but fucking, you know, it's happened in the past.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not, you know, who am I to say? You know, right. So what do you think our listeners who might be stuck in that world of addiction, right? What do you think manifestation would help them with?
I think that what it can really help with is letting you realize that you can be in the driving seat of your life again.
Yeah.
I think that when you are going through addiction and you're in that cycle, there is this feeling of just a complete loss of control.
Yeah.
And I think that loss of control is what I think personally makes you feel so hopeless and makes you feel so defeated, and it makes you feel like you just want to give up because you don't know that, you don't feel like there's a way out.
Yeah.
But there absolutely is. And I think for everybody is really, the first step for me is coming at yourself with complete compassion. You know, don't make room for those feelings of shame and regret, because the likelihood is all your behavior has come from a place of pain. And it's not to excuse it, but it's to allow yourself to come with a sense of kindness and nurturing and compassion that you need to get yourself out of it. I think if you come at yourself with this, you fucked up, you got to do better, it's not going to help you. In the same way, you know, actually what we need is love and love for ourselves, to be like, hey, I'm sorry you were hurting, but let's get ourselves out of this.
Yeah. Roxie, I've just got to say thank you so much for being so honest.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's so great to hear someone be open and honest about everything, and it's really refreshing and fantastic. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Something that was massive for me, when I first got into recovery, I got told to do a gratitude list. And so every day I do 3 things that I'm grateful for. So I'm going to ask you, if that's all right, put you on the spot.
I love this.
Great, brilliant. So let's start with things that you're grateful for. Number 1.
Oh my God. I love this. Can I just say that one of my 7 steps of manifestation is embrace gratitude.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's so integral for like so many different areas of our life and well-being and mental health.
Yeah.
So 3 things that I'm grateful for, I would say, of course, my son. You know, that relationship with him is just so special. He's 6 now.
Yeah.
I am grateful. I'm grateful pretty much every day just to be out of the darkness.
Yeah.
Like I think when you've been and spent so much of your life in it, when you experience life in a different way and you feel like you actually like yourself, you never forget how good it feels. So I feel like every day I'm just grateful for that. And I'm grateful to have a purpose, to do something where I feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing and helping others as a result.
Roxie, thank you so much for being so honest. I really massively appreciate it. That's what this space is all about, right? It's like real stories that show us healing is possible. And like, where can they find out more about everything you have to offer?
I suppose on my Instagram at Roxie Nafousi, and I've got my podcast Rise with Roxie as well, if anyone wants to listen.
Great, thank you so much. If this conversation helped you in any way, please hit a follow, leave us a review, or send it to someone who needs to hear it. Share your thoughts with us on this episode at on.the.mend.podcast. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.